All right, Steelers fans, behind me are the Hope Harveys. Hank, who are the Hope Harveys? Well, guess what, sweetheart? They're actually the first incarnation of your Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right, old Art Rooney, the chief, the cigar smoker that we all love and know so well. Well, you know what? He found a sponsor for his local football team. He coached it. The chief played on it. But you know what? The Hope Harveys kind of had a little sponsorship name going on. It'd be like calling the Steelers the Heinz Steelers. So that's the Hope Harveys and Arthur J. Rooney behind me. I don't know what these guys behind me, though, would think of this year's Steelers season. I don't know what you think about this year's Steelers season, but I know what the old tanker thinks. I think it was a great season. Anytime you can go to the AFC Championship game and go on a 9-game winning streak to get there, that's a successful season. All right, how are your Steelers going to get to the Super Bowl next year? Well, the old tanker's got his blueprint for victory all laid out, and I want to present it to you for your consideration. Look, two things: discipline and focus. Discipline and focus. These have to be the mantras for your Steelers going into Latrobe next July. Discipline and focus. Let's start about discipline. You know who knows about discipline? The former Army Ranger, Alejandro Villanueva. This kid's whole life has been built around discipline. I think Coach Tomlin needs to go into the locker room and talk to the old Big Al there and talk about Big Al's Army and what discipline is, what it means, and how it can affect an organization. Let's face it, this team was undisciplined this year. There are four things that stick out in my mind in particular. Let's talk about Coach Joey Porter. Look, I love Joey Porter. I love Joey Porter. I don't know if you know this, but he warms up with James Harrison before each game by crashing his shoulder into James Harrison before each game. I think if Joey Porter could still play, he'd still be playing. He was a great Steeler as well. He was a great player. And he's a great coach as well. But he's also a young man still. He's got a lot of energy. He has to get disciplined. Joey Porter was part of the problem this year. Going out, celebrating on the South Side after the Dolphins game and getting into trouble, whether it was his fault or not, he should have been quiet and walked away. Or better yet, Steelers Nation, none of the Steelers should have been on the South Side after the Dolphins game. Discipline. Discipline, discipline. Let's talk about Martavius Bryant. 2015-2016. He doesn't play because of substance abuse policy violations, a no-no with the NFL. We will never know what this young man could have contributed against the AFC champions this year, the Bean Eaters from Boston, if he was available to us. Discipline, discipline. Don't pick up that joint, don't smoke that joint. Discipline. AB. I love AB. Look, he is our Savior. He gave us the Christmas miracle against the hated Ravens and sent them packing back to Baltimore. Probably one of the greatest plays outside of the Immaculate Reception, thank you, Franco, that this city has ever seen. The Immaculate Extension by AB. But here's the problem. He's a great player. Some are suggesting he might be the greatest wide receiver in Steelers history. But discipline, the celebrations in the end zone. I get it. I'm an enthusiastic guy. You celebrate a knockout, you celebrate a tackle, you celebrate a touchdown. But not to the point where it puts your team in peril by giving up yardage on the kickoff. You know what I'm talking about. There is a huge difference from starting on the 20-yard line and the 35-yard line, especially against good teams like, I don't know, the New England Patriots. AB has to be disciplined. What he did in the locker room with the Facebook was unacceptable. But look, somebody from Facebook offered him a whole pile of money, and he said, okay. But he was not disciplined. Speaking of discipline, let's talk about the locker room after the Kansas City game. And you're going to hear me talk about this later as well. Why were the Pittsburgh Steelers celebrating in that locker room at Kansas City? They had serious work to do against, well, maybe one of the greatest football teams of all time in the New England Patriots the next week. Why were the Steelers celebrating and happy? If it were not for the foot of the Wizard of Oz, they don't get out of Kansas City with a victory. All the points were put on the board by Boswell that day. It was a dismal, dismal performance by the offense in Kansas City. I have no clue why the Steelers were celebrating after that victory. They should have been sullen by a bad offensive performance, and they should have been disciplined enough to get ready for the next game, the game that really counted. Look, the argument can be made. Le'Veon Bell is, only after a few short seasons, the greatest running back we've ever seen come through Pittsburgh. And that's saying a lot with the likes of Jerome Bettis and Canton in his gold jacket right now. Le'Veon Bell is the real deal. Line of scrimmage yards, his after the catch yak yards, his movement, his stutter steps. He is a work of art. But let's go back to discipline. Your Le'Veon Bell, my Le'Veon Bell, and I love him to death, was not disciplined in the off season. It led to 4-game suspension to start the season. So discipline, discipline, discipline. Coach Parter, Martavius Bryant, AB, the celebration in Kansas City. These things all add up. They all add up to losing in Boston.